Unmute. Hello, hello.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi, how you doing? You're inside a cave.
Well, it's a much better background than my bedroom where I'm shooting this from. So yeah,
That's
I picked
very
the
nice.
side of the cave.
It's nice lighting.
This is Blanchard Springs Caverns in Arkansas.
They're big. That's nice.
Well, thank you for joining me. Where are you people at right now?
We're actually at my mom's place. We did a pit stop in Mexico. A lot given the pandemic. The idea was to do a lot of the Central American countries, drive up Mexico, and then head over to the US and Canada, but the borders are closed still. So we end up spending a little bit more time than originally thought in Mexico. So here we are, and we're doing some, we're going to be doing some traveling as well, but we're going to kind of lay low for a while, maybe until the summer, and head up.
Hopefully things will settle down and you'll be able to travel more. This is my cousin Karen. She's just saying hello. Well, let's start talking
Hello,
something
Karen.
about you two. You're
sure happy.
I've been reading about you. There's not a whole lot out there that I can see about you. There's the remains of an old blog that you have out there that's all gone except for one page where you introduce yourself. There's a photograph of you in a tree. It says that you're originally from Argentina, got a Bachelor of Arts degrees in Mexico, Film and Electronics Arts program at CSU at Long Beach in California, and did postgraduate degree in natural history filmmaking and communication from the University of Otago in New Zealand. That's quite a bit of traveling around to get your education. How did you happen to be traveling so much?
I think the answer to that question is the desire to travel, I think, led to a lot of decisions in my life, not only where I would want to study, but also what I wanted to do. So I think initially grabbing a video camera for me was almost just an excuse to get out there and to travel the world. So I remember clearly, and this was many years ago now, doing some research because I wanted to specialize on wildlife filmmaking, natural history filmmaking. So at that point, there were only really two places where you could actually study this. One was Montana State University up in Bozeman. That was like a 3-year program, I believe, at the time. And then there was the natural history filmmaking course in New Zealand. What I liked about New Zealand not only was that it was a country that I'd never gone to and naturally very beautiful. That program was also coordinated or co-managed with a large production company called TVNZ, and they did all the sort of the natural history films, not only in New Zealand, but they sold a lot to National Geographic, Discovery, and the ability to study and work at the same time with this company was what attracted me to go down to New Zealand. So that's how I ended up there, and then pursued a career in very sort of specific wildlife or environment filmmaking as the years went by.
You listed some of your early documentaries. Your first documentary, it said, was Back to the Ice, a Year in Antarctica. uh, and also said you did some early filming with endangered rhinos in Sumatra, the SOS Save Our Species program, I believe, in Sumatra, and
Yes.
sustainable fisheries for World Wildlife Federation in Mexico. Uh, did you get these jobs from your
Yes.
contacts at the school you went to, the production company, or how did you happen to get into making these first films that you did?
Yeah, the first film that we did in Antarctica was definitely part of that postgraduate program. It was almost like my thesis, my student film, together with a co-producer friend of mine that had worked about 5 or 6 seasons down in Antarctica. We had an idea of sort of highlighting the wildlife that goes to Antarctica, but also the human scientists and the general workers in the science station. So we did sort of a parallel between the animals. All the animals head over there in the summer. Most of them come back. Some animals stay. Some humans stay. So we did a juxtaposition of human life and wildlife in Antarctica, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. And it was my first time to go down there, so I was super excited. After that, actually, the other films you mentioned were completely different. I started traveling in Southeast Asia, and by chance, I met a great sort of woman veterinarian that had lived in Borneo for many years. She was involved with trying to save some of the last Sumatran rhinos, and that really captivated me. I had just graduated from a natural history, um, postgraduate program, and I had my camera, and I said, "I'm here. Please take advantage of me." It was nothing to do with sort of an economic return. I didn't. I basically volunteered to do some films for her, and that opened up this whole different side of production for me. I had always envisioned um, joining one of the networks because that's what usually the path that a lot of people in after New Zealand went and did. But at the same time, I sort of got disenfranchised with the whole reality show TV programming of the time. So I actually ventured towards the nonprofit world, the conservation world, which for many people at that time was a bad word. People didn't want to talk about conservation on TV, and it was sort of sidelined to independent documentaries. And needless to say, that's where my passion and so I then, like you mentioned, I worked for many years with an outfit called International Fund for Animal Welfare, based out of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I spent about 10 years with them, traveling all over the world with a lot of animal rescues. And that was a huge sort of satisfying assignment, job to have.
On your YouTube page, you have a bunch of clips from your time at IFAW, and
Yes.
you've talked about one. You were nominated for a wild screen film festival for How to Catch a Tiger, and that's like the Oscars of wildlife filmmaking. And so I looked up that film.
That's correct.
I see there's a trailer for it on your YouTube channel. There's a full film of it on Vimeo. There's pieces of it from the National Geographic showcase. There's pieces of it from GoPro Siberian tiger release, a rare sight.
It was amazing. It was being in the right place at the right time, I guess. Nobody had ever um, really filmed Siberian tiger releases all that much and all that well, and largely because that kind of rehabilitation of orphan Siberian tigers was pioneering. It was just starting. Nobody had ever, for a long time, people thought rehabilitating orphaned tigers was impossible because they would not know the skills to survive in the wild, probably didn't have enough time with their mother to learn how to be self-sufficient, but designed this whole rehabilitation pilot in Far East Russia and got it to a point where it actually became possible. And right at that time, IFAW, who I was working for, funded a lot of that work and sent me with a great friend of mine and a co-producer down to the middle of Far East Russia, and we tried to do something that hadn't been done before, which was actually film it in super slow motion. So a lot of the slow motion cameras you see, even my iPhone or the GoPro has a lot of really cool slow motion or high frame rate cameras and capabilities right now. But back then it wasn't the case. So we had to get in touch with a camera company called Phantom Camera, and we took this beast of a camera that was able to shoot 1,500 frames per second and took it to the middle of the forest on Russian tanks, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And we decided to do a behind the scenes kind of short film documentary because it was so much fun to actually get to know the camera and practice on it before we actually went there. And that led then to 2 more years, I believe, of going to Far East Russia and filming tiger releases in subsequent years, because our partners in Russia were very happy with what we had done and the sort of visibility that it all had. I believe one of the GoPro videos went, I think it's still accumulating views. I think it hit more than 40 some million views online, which was just amazing.
I want to say I really enjoyed that film, particularly about you geeking out over getting the camera and playing with it. I thought that was quite
Yeah,
quite entertaining. Now let's get a little bit
fun.
to Nicole. Now you were born in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and grew up there, and then all of a sudden you were told you were moving to Africa. Well, tell me about that.
Well, when they told me I was moving to Africa, I was little then, and I almost had no idea what Africa was. And I thought that we were just going to go for a trip because we love going on trips and we always have gone on trips. But when we were moving there, it was hard for me to leave the US, but it was also like a great experience and it was really fun.
Yeah, I just got done watching your first Lost in Africa introduction just before this interview. So yeah, you're much littler then. Now looking at you, I'm guessing you're what, like 37 now, right?
You would think. I mean, I can't even recognize Nicole when she was 8 years old, but she's only 11. So that was, I mean, it was 3 years, well, she's almost 12. So let's say it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And
I looked really tiny.
And she's so different.
Yeah, she's grown a lot. The first was posted in September 2017. So it's been about 3.5 years ago since she posted her first video on the Lost in Africa series. And she's gotten a lot bigger, you know.
Yeah.
When you left Cape Cod, did you keep in touch with any of your friends or schoolmates when you started traveling to Africa?
Well, yeah, that was a big part of why we actually started the vlogs. It's because I kept in touch with my friends a lot, and they really wanted to know how it was to move to Africa because it was something that none of them had ever done before. And we kept in touch, and I always shared my adventures with them, and they really liked hearing about my adventures and everything. So it was really fun.
There was an article in the Cape Cod News about you traveling to Africa. It had like 3 pictures of you and an interview and talking about your former school there in Cape Cod, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And when you got to Kenya, where did you go to school in Kenya?
Well, we went to an international school called BGE, and it was very fun because what I really liked about the school was that there was a lot of different nationalities from all over the world. There were kids from all over the world, and we learned a lot from all the different cultures while we were in that school. So it was amazing. I really liked it.
And so with all this traveling, what are you doing for school now? Tell me what you learned.
Right now, Well, during the trip, I admit that I was a little worried about the school because I was like, I'm going to fall behind on all my classmates. And the thing was that during quarantine, everybody was at their home and it was all online. So we actually didn't have to worry so much about the schoolwork, but my mom and my dad, we do a lot of homeschooling, and that like right now we're doing homeschooling, and that's it helps me learn a lot. And we also learned along the way a lot about the world in general and stuff that you couldn't learn in school, which is also really fun.
Well, Karen, my cousin, or if that's really her, who's down here, she has 4 kids, and we took a tour for 5 months across the United States in a bus. And she
Yeah.
homeschooled her kids during the trip and has been homeschooling ever since. And it was fun because we go to these national parks and they have these little junior ranger guides that you fill out for activities. And that was part of their school work, was filling out these junior ranger activity booklets as we traveled around the country.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife Gabby, she's a Montessori guide, so she's always believed in sort of really experiential, uh, let's say, studying. And once we started with this trip, and I'm talking about this most recent trip through the Americas, we kind of had a lot of fun with it because we would ask the girls, "Hey, we're gonna cross into Chile, let's say," and before that, we would love to have presentations from you on, what are we going to find in Chile? What are the best places to go? What kind of food do we want to go and try out? What's the basic history of this country? And so the girls would really, learn about these countries. We would learn about these countries through them. And it all made sense once you cross into, like you were saying, those national parks, and you would actually see what you studied about. It's so much more of a comprehensive package. We thought they learned quite a lot by this sort of, maybe alternative education that we've been giving them the last few years, but we haven't regretted it at all. And instead of being stuck at home doing sort of online school, they were out and about, which was lucky in a way.
You have your wife is originally from Mexico, I guess.
Yes.
And you have another daughter, which isn't in this picture, who's 3 years younger than Nicole.
Yeah, actually, 2 years younger. Yeah.
2 years younger. Well, she did like 4 or 5 little blogs right at the beginning of your craft vlogs, or at the beginning of your tours in Africa, which I thought was kind of cute as well, making elephants out of toilet paper rolls and things like that. And I've seen her appear in a couple of the the background of some of your videos since.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you, Edward, for picking that up. You did your homework really well. Yeah, Amelie is amazing. She's a lot. She's super creative. Almost, a lot behind the cameras. She's actually helping me edit the videos by this point. So I'm going to take a step back and just let the girls do their thing, because Amelie really loves the production side of things. Nicole loves being in front of the camera, so it's a perfect combination. And we just realized quite quickly after she did those little few videos that what she really wanted to do was play around with the camera and not necessarily present or keep. She's much more of a sort of a wild spirit, and so in her own way, she's become a really important sort of member of this production team that we have in the family. So everybody grabs whatever cameras are around there and films, and it's just a very cool collaborative sort of project that we always thought was going to be good memories. It's like our photo album. So that's why we have so much fun working on these.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing any more wild crafts from South America, I guess.
Unfortunately not. I don't think so. I mean, I would love to see some, but I don't think Amelie's up for it. Yeah.
Nicole, you gave a tour of your van when you start out in South America. You said, this is where the beds are. This is where parents are. This is the table. This is the table where we do our production. And you said briefly about how you go about doing your production. So tell me about the process in making these films. What do you do, and how do you go about doing it?
Well, the vlogs, when we're really at the location, if we see something that we would think was really good for the vlog, I would tell my dad, okay, let's film this or that, or my dad would tell me, why don't we get you in front of this, or let's do this with the piranha. And then when we would be back at our house or our car, I would go through the footage, and I would start writing the script. And after I write the script, me and Dad would take another look at it and edit it over. Then when we would find a suitable place to record it, Dad would read out some lines, and then I just repeat them. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, I'm a glorified teleprompter in a way.
Yeah.
But what we really wanted to do, which has evolved through the years. I mean, when Nicole was 8 years old, we did things sort of more with my wife, with a
Yeah.
lot of education components to it. And now, for a long time, Nicole is basically, these vlogs are her. She writes every single word on them, and then she decides what she wants in and what she doesn't.
Yeah.
And we're here just to support the sort of the realization of it and get it basically into YouTube. But that's about it.
I see her moving in slow motion in a number of these shots. I wonder if that takes a lot of practice.
How do you move in slow motion, Nicole? I think that's a trick question. It's one of the nice things about today's cameras, right? I was talking about the sort of how difficult it was to film in slow motion. Now we have really cheap, accessible drones we can put up in the air and have fun. Nicole also sort of flew the drone in Bolivia. No obstacles. Take control, and so these things are getting so accessible and so easy to use, and it brings up the production value incredibly high for very modest sort of effort. I remember 10 years ago, you try to do something like that, it would have been impossible. But I think we're in a blessed sort of technological reality where everything is easier and quick. And yeah, I just wonder if technology is going to surpass us in the near future. I mean, some of these cameras are editing on their own now, so it'll be interesting to know how the creative process of filmmaking evolves, and how these young filmmakers, and Nicole included, is able to take advantage of some of the elements and try to basically impose a style, which I think is the most important thing right now. Is what is your personal style, and how do you express that through what you're doing? Which is, it's easy to copy others, but I'm more interested in originality. So that's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye out for in the next few years.
Well, Nicole, do you think you're going to continue to make films as you grow older? Or are you going to become like a bank robber or something exciting like that?
Well, that'll be cool.
I hope I'm not gonna become a bank robber.
Okay. Just checking.
We have a couple more vlogs in the Lost in the Americas series. We have a couple from Colombia, which was incredible. I'm really looking forward to doing those. And from where we are now in Mexico, there's also going to be a couple vlogs because we have some great footage. It's really beautiful here. And we're not sure what we're gonna do next, but I really love vlogging, so I'm sure that something will come up.
And she'll be too modest to say anything, but actually, I'll say it out here because she's a great writer, and I think her passion really lies in the written word. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some books coming out with her name on them. That's what she spends a lot of her time reading and writing. She's already written a few things.
Yeah.
So that I think is Nicole's incredibly talented, and so she's gearing towards the writing a lot more. So that's exciting to see.
A couple years ago, you listed your top 5 travel places that you'd been as a younger person. Would you change your list now? What would you say was your top 5 places to visit now if you were to do another top 5 list?
That's a really
It's
cool question.
Hard.
That's
It's just
a very good
really
question.
hard. Yeah. All the places we've been to on this trip have been incredible. Like, they're all so special in their own way, and it's really difficult to know what you liked more than the rest. But I think some unforgettable experiences would be Ethiopia, which we went to, was incredible, like very out of this world sort of adventures. Of course, Kenya will always be amazing for me. I loved all the countries of the Americas that we passed through. All of them had their own spectacular thing. But one of the places that really stood out in my memory was the Perito Moreno Glacier. It was one of my favorite adventures that I've had so far.
You've had a bunch of different animal encounters. Do you have a favorite type of animal encounter, or the scariest animal encounter that you've had? Or the coolest?
Scariest animal encounter might be in the Amazon. Very. A tarantula, that was very scary. It was one of the most scary things in the world.
Edward, she had a really tough time sleeping at night.
Next to my bed, like really close. There was a tarantula, so that was. But I've always loved cheetahs. They're incredible. Like, we saw them hunt once, and I just love their speed. Also, close lion encounters with open-sided vehicles is scary, but really, really cool. Like, they're amazing.
I saw that you and your father played with some 360 VR footage. You did it in Victoria Falls and Petra. You did a 360 of the meerkats. What did you find different or interesting about doing the 360 stuff besides getting soaked at Victoria Falls?
I think for the 360, it's really fun because the people that are watching, the viewers, can see all around what's happening all around there, instead of just having it being focused on one place, on what I really want to show. But then they can also see the other parts of the places we go to. For example, with the meerkats, it was so cute, but it's not like you can get close and put a camera there. But if you leave the camera 360, you can see all around as the meerkats come close and pop out of their holes. And it's really cool to see all around, not just one thing at a time, because there's a lot that you can't put shots of everything. So
it's one of those so specialty cameras, right? Some people really love it. Some get all dizzy and can't really understand what's going on. God, I mean, so many people get excited with new technology and never use it. Similar with us. I mean, I bought one of those 360 VR cameras that we took to these places. I used it a few times, but to be very honest, I haven't used it all that much either. Professionally, though, we do have other VR 360 cameras that we are using, and I'm actually producing a snow leopard VR film that we're gonna release later this year. I'm very excited about that. But on a personal level, as we're traveling, we never seem to be able to get great sort of moments to use that VR, or weren't looking necessarily for those VR moments. Not every place is good for VR, I have to say.
Yeah.
And some of those cameras, when the first generation cameras had a few kinks in them, weren't all that easy to operate. But I think there's great potential if you experience VR with the actual proper headsets, and have a well-produced piece. It's absolutely amazing, and that immersion of being in the actual place. I think there's a lot to be said there. I think it's going to get better. It's going to get cheaper. People are going to produce more and more VR, and it's in such a good quality that it won't kind of make people want to vomit. But for now, I think it still has a way to go. And obviously the adoption rate isn't that high yet. But we were having fun with some of those clips.
In your professional film, how do you go about planning on a shooting for something that's 360? Because I know how you plan for something that's like in front of you, but how do you go about planning and approaching the whole process of shooting something in 360 VR?
Well, it's completely different, to be honest. Everything needs to be storyboarded very much more closely, I think. For any of the big productions that I've done, yes, we've done outlines and scripts ahead of time, even if they're documentary, and you exactly know what's going to happen. You try to script it out. You try to put words into sort of the scientist expert that you're going to interview. But at the end, there's a working script, and then there's an editing script. The two might not look anything alike. In VR, what I've had to do was really block some of those scenes down in the sense of, okay, these are the elements that we need in that 360 scene. It's very, very hard to do, very tricky, especially with dealing with wildlife. In landscape, VR is easier. If you're underwater, it's easier as well. But for scenes to appear natural, when you have a protagonist walking through it, or are you going to do a VR, a voiceover kind of host-led VR? It all kind of changes. A lot of thinking ahead of time. There's a lot more control that you need over your scene. And for example, we were in the snow leopard film that we're doing. You have to realize that a lot of we're doing some camera. This is really exciting stuff, because we're doing virtual reality 360 camera traps. But what that means is you can't put the camera trap in normal locations. Usually it's against a rock or a tree, but this is 360. It makes no sense to put it against something. You can't see that way. So we had to look for open spaces to be able to have the cat sort of move this way or that way around it. It really tests the way you think of framing shots. It really turns everything upside down. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I think the creative potential is incredible. The immersive nature of it makes it really, the experience is you're really there. You don't need to direct anymore. You just plant people there and let them explore. And there's a lot of then techniques in post-production to be able to guide people to see one thing or the other, sometimes with sound, sometimes with cues. You're able to do a little bit of directing, but a lot of it happens in post-production. It's a very creative process. I'm having an incredibly sort of fun time doing it.
All right. Nicole, you have a YouTube channel, and do you know how many subscribers you have on your YouTube channel?
Well, last time I checked, it was about 5,000.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, about 5,000.
And how many did your father have?
None.
I'm not sure how many he has. I'm sure it's not none, but
he has 15 subscribers, and you have like.
I'm very proud of those 15 subscribers, Edward.
So like you're kicking his butt as far as subscribers on YouTube. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's. kudos to Nicole, really. She's done a great job of keeping those vlogs coming throughout the years. I think people have fun watching her grow up.
I have fun doing them.
And it's kept her, like Nicole was saying, it's kept her sort of connecting with a lot of friends because of that, and meeting new friends, and it's been fun for the whole family. What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah, it's been we've had a really fun time because there's so much that you can learn when you're doing this vlog, and then you can go back and you can see all the adventures you've been doing, and it's a memory that you can keep forever, and it's really, really incredible.
Where do you want to go that you haven't been to yet?
Antarctica. I really want to go. It sounds really cool. Yeah, that's a place that I really want.
Have you been to the Galapagos?
No, that's also another bucket list place that we haven't been able to do on the trip because, well, mostly because of that pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's, definitely a bucket list destination for me and for all of us, actually.
Okay, I was just curious about that because I know your father has been to Antarctica a number of times.
He's so lucky. I wish he could bring us with him, but
I'm trying to make that work, Edward. I really am. One of the sort of family goals that we have is to one day go as a group. The girls would love it. My wife, maybe not so much, as we said, she's Mexican.
It's very cold out there. I get seasick.
It's very cold, but I'm sure she'd love the Antarctic Peninsula, at least in the middle of summer. But the girls would love the ice.
I see in some of you have footage of some of the places you've been when you were younger that appears in your intro reel, appears some in your father's demo reel on his YouTube page. Do you ever thought about going back and re-editing some of the older footage when you were younger into kind of like vlogs themselves? Now, this is what I did when I was 6 years old, kind of thing. Trips to Iceland and to France, and
I'm not sure. We've never really thought of that. Yeah, we've never really thought of going back and editing it, but like for the top destinations to go to, it was so cute just seeing when we were traveling and we were really little, because we've been traveling ever since we were born. It was like we love traveling, and we have a lot of footage from when we were really little, so maybe we could try something out.
What would you tell kids who are looking at your vlog and thinking, well, I want to do travel videos or wildlife videos like this? What kind of advice would you tell them to do?
I would give them the advice to try hard on what they're doing, do their best to make it happen, and just have a lot of fun with it. The best thing is to have just lots of fun doing it, and just that's what I would tell them.
And avoid getting eaten by tarantulas and piranhas.
That would also be something that I would recommend.
I was kind of fascinated about this guy who's swimming in the cold Antarctic water. I personally think that's kind of crazy, but
the guy is yes, you're talking about Louis Pugh. He's an amazing and very inspirational endurance swimmer. He's Welsh, lives in South Africa, and has done swims that nobody else has done, up in the North Pole, down in Antarctica, in a lake below Mount Everest. He is truly, truly incredible what he's able to accomplish. And the most incredible thing is that when you talk to him, it's not like he likes doing these things. It's he isn't superhuman. He feels the pain. He gets scared before he goes into the water. He really puts himself in a situation that not a lot of people would do, and it's all for his passion of then shining a light to issues that he's very, very involved in, like marine protected areas and climate change. And so he puts his body on the line so that then that gives him a platform to talk about these issues. And that is a really powerful mix, I think. It's been sort of a pleasure for me to work closely with Lewis. Nicole met Lewis also back in Nairobi. What did you think about him?
I think he's very inspiring. I think that we should all do something like him in our own ways. Like, I'm not going to start swimming in Antarctic waters or Antarctic waters. Just, that's not what I'm going to do. But yeah, he's very inspirational. And I'd like to do something to raise awareness for climate change as well in my own way.
Mm.
A while back, you did an interview with a girl named Chloe Patton from Growing Up Without Borders, because she was traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And probably had similar experiences to you. Have you talked to her about that since? Are you friends, or did you just do this one-shot interview? Or
well, we did that interview, and I mean, it would be great maybe to do another one because of because now I'm sort of doing a little more of like the stuff that she does. But we haven't done anything since. It might be cool to think about that.
Yeah, we've been following them and their trips.
Yeah, their trips are awesome. We always follow them.
They're having so much fun. And I think she turned, I believe, 13 the last week or something.
Yeah.
We've loosely kept tabs on sort of their great fun adventures as well. So it's been really cool to also get support. There's been really great vloggers out there with incredible followers, and they've given Nicole some tips on what to do, and they've helped sort of promote her videos every now and again. That has been really a surprising, unexpected sort of thing to see, that camaraderie between travel vloggers and how cool they are and how willing they are to just spend time to give Nicole advice and some tips and what's worked with for them. So that's been really cool to see and very completely unexpected.
Yeah.
have you done any vlogs where you've put them together and looked at them and just decided not to show them because they didn't suit you? Or do you just have you done all of them that's worked out well?
We haven't had any that we were like, no, we're not going to do this, because I feel like all of the adventures and the way we put them together is planned and is just incredible. Like, all on their own. There's a lot of different styles of places we went to, from Kenya to the Americas, but I feel like every vlog is really special in its own way, and we haven't had any that we say we cannot put this because it's not our style or whatever.
Your vlogs always seem to be very positive and upbeat. Is that a theme you try to keep going in your vlogs, showing you're having a good time? And this is,
well, yeah, and it's a lot because we are having a good time. Like in my vlog about the quarantine, it wasn't a lot about happy times. It was more like, we're in quarantine. But I feel like the reason that it's all happy times in my videos is that it is like really cool, and the hard parts, we put them as well, so that people can see that it's not just everything is happy, but there's also hard things like sleeping with tarantulas.
what's hard about that? The little furry
Little furry spiders that can crawl over you when you sleep. It's just amazing.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, I know tarantulas. They were in the desert when I lived in New Mexico. They come out after it would rain. It was
They're
cool.
beautiful. They don't do anything.
Yeah, sure.
You didn't like the tarantulas. Has there been other things that you thought were scary on your trips? Like, I know you sort of like you weren't serious about your father's driving in the roads, but aside from that,
Something the Amazon was lovely, but there was also a lot of kind of scary experiences. One was where we were in the boat, and then it was nighttime, so we did these night walks and going in the boat at night. And it's amazing because you shine your flashlight and you look for eyes, and then if you see an eye, it's like, let's go there. And we came so close to Canyon, to a caiman, and then I was just getting really scared because it was huge. I mean, it was one of those huge things that, yeah, it was pretty scary.
Yeah, that's we have a lot. Unfortunately, we didn't record some of those close encounters with the caimans.
I forgot to.
We had a caiman that almost jumped into our
Our boat.
our boat. I wish I would have filmed that, but it took me by surprise. It actually rammed right where I was, and I kind of jumped and sort of landed on top of my younger daughter there. Everybody had a good laugh after that, but there's a ton of things that we actually missed recording.
Because they're so unexpected.
And things, and a lot of times also, to your point, Edward, about when things don't go as planned, or things that are actually not that positive. We had a bunch of moments in that trip where things were tough. Unfortunately, it's that brain that kind of, when something unexpected happens, you're kind of in the moment, and it still takes me, I think, too long, and that's my bad, to say, this would be a great sort of dramatic moment for a vlog. Let's capture this, because even if, for example, in Chile, I don't know why this comes up in my mind. We had the car for about a week, and then somebody didn't put the handbrake in a mall, and their car just very slowly, without a driver, we started seeing a car coming right, gaining speed and coming right at our camper. It actually crashed into us. Nobody inside. Basically, the handbrake, the brakes didn't work, and that was like so dramatic. We had to figure out what to do, and and in retrospect, I would have thought, that was a great opportunity to kind of film a little bit of that and talk about how much unexpected, how unexpected moments really put stress into the moment, and so those dramatic elements, usually I'm very keen on them in my professional sort of hat and trips, but when I'm with the family, I've missed a few of those, unfortunately. But actually, we had great luck in the whole trip. Nothing that dramatic.
I don't think we ever blew a tire.
No, we didn't blow a tire. We went through the whole of the continent without any major incident, thank God.
We got stuck once, just once.
Oh yeah, got stuck in. See, that would have been a great moment.
That would have been a great moment, but we were too busy freaking out and trying to get out of there.
Decided to sleep on top of a dune next to the beach, and we came from traveling in the Land Cruiser, the 4x4 in Africa, and then we were in the camper.
Heavy.
Very, very different vehicle. And very ambitious those first few nights. I said, let's go up into the dunes and have a nice sort of night over there. And obviously we got stuck and needed to get rescued. That would have been great for the vlog as well. So yeah, I mean, these opportunities come and go. You got to be on your feet and kind of recording almost everything that happens. But for us also, it was important just to enjoy the trip and not think about the vlog.
Certainly.
So you gotta let some of those go.
Probably the coolest animal encounter I ever had. I had my cameras with me, but I didn't get a shot. We were just putting in a canoe on this river, and it was a very narrow river, but there's fog on each side. You could barely see the shore. This eagle swooped down just across the bow of the boat. And I was, oh, wow, but there was no way I could have got the shot.
Yeah.
It just happened, so quickly. and it's right after he put in too. And, you know, so, but I still got the memory of the encounter, and that's what you have. You have the memories of all these adventures you have that you didn't get on film. And so that's what's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything you'd like to ask me, or any final words?
Thank you so much for having us. It was really fun talking to you, and I'm really glad that you guys are really liking my videos. I'll make sure to put some more out there. Colombia's next, so you guys stay tuned because it's going to be awesome.
All right, I'll be sure to watch. I'll be sure. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Edward, for your time and for talking with us. It's
Have a good trip, and hopefully the quarantine travel restrictions will lift soon and you'll be able to travel more freely.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I know everybody's very excited to get back to normal life. We'll see what that looks like, but in the meantime, you know, gotta keep positive and yeah, look for the next adventure.
Well, keep making your videos, have fun in Antarctica, and enjoy your adventures. Bye-bye.
Will do, Edward.
Thank
Have a
you.
great one. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.